chapter, Matthew the 16th chapter. We're going to lift some verses from there this morning. My friend, Pastor Charles Saunders, who was the interim pastor here, we do go back a long way, and I consider him to be a comrade in arms and a real friend. And I hate being in the same venue with him and he's not preaching. I love his preaching. And I'm familiar with the Leroy story. You'll forever be known for a powerful declaration with that, and I'm thankful for him. I did not introduce, and I think that was God's way of putting a special underscore under my son. Stand up, James. You all know my son, JD. Bishop from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Minister in the South Central Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Chief, there is an underground railroad I would love for him to travel from South Central to Southwest. We're going to send Sojourner Truth down there. Bring my son. That's my preacher. That's my preacher. That's my pastor. Believe it or not, I get a lot of illustrative material from JD. And his brothers will tell you that he's the goofiest of all of the boys. Is that true, guys? They're shaking their heads, yes. But there's a whole lot of wisdom in James's playing around. I kid you not. And when I talk with him, he's always throwing something back spiritual, and I appreciate that. I've learned to trust him. I was scared to death. I'm going to tell you this. I was scared to death when he went into theology. I was teaching theology at Oakwood for 20 years. And he got into my class. It was a homiletics or a preaching class. And I hadn't heard JD preach before. And I was scared to death that if he couldn't preach, I would have no credibility at all teaching preaching after him listening for all of those years if he couldn't preach. And oh man, what a relief when JD stood up and he preached. I remember his first sermon, he preached out of the book of Matthew. And he dealt with the genealogy of Jesus, a tough passage, but he brought out some stuff from that text that I did not even know existed. And I can remember sitting back in my seat. I should have been up on my feet, but I was so relieved of the anxiety, nervous, that he could not preach. And when he preached that sermon, I relaxed and said, God's got this boy. God's got him. And that's a preaching rascal right there. And by the way, I don't mind bragging a little bit. I'm not going to brag on myself. I will tell you that if any three people want to play basketball against my sons, we can raise some building fund money. I'll take that bet. Not a bet. Elder, I don't bet. No. I will take that challenge. Those boys are ballers. Okay, now let's get into the text. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you tired? Are you good? Will you give me 30 minutes? You'll give me 30? Then let's do this. Just by way of instruction, it's this simple. I don't bring a lot of notes into the pulpit, not because I'm brilliant at all. It's just the way I fight. And it can be a nice, clean ride from beginning to end. We can go straight. We can take the direct route if you are responsive. If you're not responsive, I'm going to get off at every exit, and I'm going to work my way into waking you up. So do me a favor, and if you get it, show some sign. Will you do that? Show some sign, some sign. We worshiped hard today. That music was incredible. Woo. Yeah. But I hope you left something in the tank for preaching time, right? It's on you. If when you get the point, you don't show any sign, I'm going to assume you didn't get the point. And I'll work with it until you get the point. We clear? All right, so if you get the point, what will I hear? Yeah, all right. Oh, I'm feeling you now. I'm feeling you now. And this will be a better experience if you stay responsive. We can go beginning to end. Matthew 16. I love this particular text of Scripture. Matthew 16, and beginning with verse 13, the Bible here says, when Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, and they said, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? Who do they say I am? And they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist,